Good morning, everybody. I hope you all had a relaxing and restful weekend and you're ready to get back to it. So, we just finished up World War II last week. We're going to start the Cold War this week, and the best way to describe the Cold War is the relationship status. It's complicated. So, if you've taken a look at my posts in Google Classroom, you will notice that attached with the reading, there are a lot of videos that I have attached, basically because I'm trying the best I can to help you understand all of these things that were going on during this time that we call the Cold War. And the best way, as I said before, to describe the Cold War is this idea of two economic ideologies that were fighting each other. Now, before I get into that, let me explain the question that you are going to be answering for this week. The question is, what actions did the U.S. government take to contain the spread of communism? And based on those articles and those videos that I have attached, do you think those actions were effective? And use examples and facts from those things that I've attached to support your opinion. Now that you know the question, keep that question in mind as we go through. So, World War II has just ended. The Japanese have just surrendered. The United States has just dropped the nuclear bomb and unleashed this brand new technology on the world. What next? So, clearly the League of Nations that was begun in World War I didn't work. So, what does the world do? The world decides to scrap that and create something that we still know today as the United Nations. And in varying degrees, it seems to be working. You also have a few meetings between world leaders, specifically Stalin, Churchill, and Truman. And you have this icing of the relationship between specifically the United States and the Soviet Union, because during the war, they were working together, but then the United States dropped this new technology, and especially between Stalin and Truman, you have this idea of, hey, we're working together, why didn't you share this with me? So you can think of them as kind of frenemies. So you have this huge distrust between Stalin and Truman. And Stalin is the leader of the Soviet Union, otherwise known as the USSR. And we know them sort of kind of today as Russia. There's this smushing of all of these terms for them during this time period. Now, to pause for just a second, the United States is known as a capitalist society, and the USSR, the Soviet Union, is known as a communist society. And again, as I said earlier, it's really a fight between the two between the two economic ideologies. And so I've attached a video to explain the difference between the two of them to help explain what these are. Now, because this is so complicated, we're going to split it into 2 weeks. The first half, we're going to be taking a look at the idea of the domino effect. So, Truman, after the icing of this relationship, Truman makes a statement saying, okay, we've got to stop the spread of this communist power, this communist ideology. And so the idea of trying to contain communism was met with the idea of, okay, in order to stop this, this leads into the Korean War. And then eventually this leads into the Vietnam conflict, which we'll be taking a look at next week. Now, while all of this is going on, you also have the idea of something known as the Red Scare. Now, during World War I, you also had a fear of the Bolsheviks and the communists, because the communist revolution was going on in 1917. And so you had that first Red Scare. So that was a little over 20 years ago. So the idea that communists might still be in our society and might be feeding the threads of communism throughout our society was scary. And so you had a gentleman by the name of Joseph Stalin who was feeding into this. And so he created something called McCarthyism simply by accusing lots and lots of people. And so that's something else that we're going to be taking a look at this week. So that's an overview of the articles that you're going to be reading, some of the videos that I've attached. Again, your question is, what actions did the U.S. government take to contain the spread of communism? And based on what you see in society today, do you think that those were effective? Use the articles, use the videos to support your opinion. My office hours this week are going to be tomorrow from 12 to 1. Feel free to message me. Feel free to pop on Zoom. I look forward to seeing you. My quote for this week is, "Life isn't waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain." I hope you have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you. Bye.